So in this next video, we want to look at starting to elevate the roads. We've got 2D data for the roads and we want to elevate that. Once again, in this case, we've actually got 3D points there. But if there were 2D points, again, we could use the elevate spots to get the 3D points and then elevate the lines to these 3D points. So first thing I want to do here is to isolate the data that I want to work with. So the data that I want to work with is I've got a 3D point and I've got my center line strings, and I can just say view only layer of selected objects. So if we just view that by itself, we can see the 3D data and the 2D data. And simply what I want to do is to run the option elevate lines. This time we don't need to search very far, so I'm going to put a cap of 10 mil to search for the point, and we want to select all the lines, all the points. So I just click in each one of these fields. We've already selected everything, hit apply, and we can see that we've basically elevated that data. So it's not perfect. We can see there's a couple of issues here, and it's basically where we may have missing data. So that needs a little bit of QC. So the reason we've got this issue here is because the lines weren't connected. And we have another issue here where, again, we've basically got steps in the data. So it's very important before we do this on an individual on roads that we make sure the data is all connected. So I'm just going to hit undo. I'm going to go back to here, and we have a tool that you'll use all the time called Project Cleanup. We'll go through that in phases, but what we're going to do is just limit it to the current selection, and I'm going to basically just choose to join lines with small gaps, and I'll set a tolerance there of 10 mil, and I'll hit apply, and we can see here that it's joining any lines with small gaps. So we've got this line, that's created a polyline. We have this line, a created polyline, and this created polyline. So now if we run this command again, choose elevate lines, we've selected all the data, so we just click on each one of these fields. We're still searching for 10 mil, hit apply, look at our 3D view, and we can see this time we don't have any funnies going on. Everything looks much better. We just have basically 3 points that we need to look at. And it looks like here we've actually got a couple of levels that just sit further off than slightly further away than 10 mil. So let's just turn on design levels. Yep, and it looks like we basically have these levels that are not quite sitting as they should be. So what we're going to do here is just show you how to edit that data. So I'm going to click on this line string. I'm going to choose edit, and we can see there's 2 tabs here, one horizontal and one vertical. So the horizontal geometry will include anywhere where it's purely 2D or where the 3D coincides with 2D information. So we can see that the first point in the horizontal geometry and the last point. So there's only 2 points that define the horizontal geometry. If we go to the vertical tab, then we can see that there's all these points here, but we're missing some points. So we see we've got a level here. So I'm just going to go in here and just select that level. And then that's edited that point. We also want to create a new point, and it's going to be created along this line here. So we're going to put that chain of 10, and the elevation is going to be there. And we're just going to hit save. And we should see if I go, well, we're in the 3D view, that that's now correctly elevated. I added these 2 vertical points of intersection onto that road. This time, it's just a mistake in the drawing that these points are offset. So before I do that, you probably saw in the video here, it wasn't picking up the chainage correctly, and it was because I was trying to do it in 3D view. So you must pick chainages in the 2D view to pick them graphically. So here, what I want to do is we want to obviously edit another line string. So it's this line string here. We can see it dives down to the end, which has not been picked up correctly. So this time we're going to do it graphically. So I'm going to select that. It's got a 0 elevation, and we're going to select that text here. So it should be allowing me to select that, do it in the 2D view, and we now see that that is elevated properly. But we're missing a couple of spot levels. So what we can do here is we can now just say add a vertical point of intersection. The chainage is coming from there, and the elevation is coming from there. So the elevation is there, and that point, and that point. So it's picked up these 2 points and it's added them into the road properly. Now what we could do is that we should really have this formed so this line properly intersects with the other in height. So what we can do is basically just choose to add another vertical point of intersection. The distance along is going to be at the chainage across crossing line. So we can say there, and the elevation, what we can do is we can say along line snap. So we can say it's actually along that line, distance at crossing line. So we're getting the elevation there, and we save that. So we can see that the actual elevation here that we've taken is 28.763. So there's a proper crossover between these 2 points at that junction. So you'll always have a little bit of manual editing to do with these strings. And if we just finally finish off with doing this one, just as another example, I choose that line string, I choose edit, go to the plan view. We can see that it's picking up a 0 height here, which is wrong. So we can graphically select that node. We can go to the elevation field, we can click the text, we can hit close, and you can see that that's now finally, and we've got exactly the same situation here. Double click the middle mouse button as a zoom, choose to edit that line string. Again, we've got a 0 height, so we're just going to choose distance along. Sorry, we're going to choose, we'll just select that. So this is basically, we've now got fully edited 3D center lines. So the next step in this is to elevate the channel lines, which I'll record in the next video.